Welcome back to All Classics Restoration, and we have been working on one of our projects that's been here way too long, the 71 Challenger. And I've started on the other side a while back. I did the outer wheelhouse and trunk extension. Well, I've been working away getting some more of this sheet metal replaced. I did the driver's side outer wheelhouse. Got all the little pieces put back on that hold bracketry and whatnot, and got the left side trunk extension on, and also got the trunk pan set down in there. And I've got a few more things to do before I can start welding that in. I had to remove this right side rain gutter in order to get the trunk pan in. It just would not go in. I really didn't want to take the tail light panel completely out because it didn't need to come out. I did have to take the trunk lock support off in order to get the pan in. But this right side rain gutter really needs to be replaced, as does the trunk filler panel. And for some reason I didn't order those. I didn't order the filler panel, which I really thought I would have before. But so we'll have to go ahead and get a trunk filler panel. We'll get this right side rain gutter so we can get this tied back together. We'll get these pieces put in before the quarters go on so that the quarters will be set in the right place. But we're moving along with this. I had sprayed the insides of all my frame rails and got primer inside of those prior to dropping that pan in there, so everything's got a coat of epoxy primer on it. And I sprayed inside all up underneath here, just trying to get some primer on everything so that the next person, all they got to do is come in here and scuff it and they can shoot it, body color, whatever they need to do. So that's where we're at with this project. Continuing on with the work on our 71 Challenger project, I've removed the firewall and have the new one sitting in there. And I'll show you why we've had to go ahead and replace this firewall. Because the cowl section is just in really bad shape. You can see all the rust in here, and it gets worse as you get over here. It's very, very thin metal here. A lot of it's perforated. This is probably the worst area of it. This is right above where your feet would be as you're driving a car. So a lot of water would be coming in there. So I thought it'd just be best to go ahead and replace the firewall section and the upper cowl piece too, because it was not in great shape either. It had a lot of work done in these corners here. You can see somebody's previously patched both sides of these corners of the windshield. So we've gone ahead and cut all that out, and I got new firewall and cowl from AMD. Now, I'm going to say this. I love AMD's stuff. It's great that they're making so much sheet metal for these older cars, but I think they're getting a little laxed on their fit on some of these panels that they've had for a while. Maybe the dies are wearing out. I don't know what the situation is. But this firewall doesn't fit that great. And I hate saying it, but it's the truth. I've got all new AMD sheet metal going in this car. Floor pan, the footwells back here, the under seat pan. So, you know, this stuff should fit together with their accompanying sheet metal parts. And they don't. As you can see there, that where this side of the floor pan and the firewall meet, it's not where it needs to be. I might be able to fudge this a little bit, but there's really not room to make many adjustments on this. It's got a lot of angles it has to fit into. It fits most of them right. It's just this doesn't seem to come down far enough here. It needs to be a little longer, or the floor pan. One of the two is not right. And this upper part up here is not correct. It's good to about here. And then this section here is not correct. This should be up. This part here should meet up right here. So it's a good what is that, almost ½ inch too low. So this should be up. Now the upper cowl will sit on here, and that's what the windshield, the lower windshield bed is in the upper cowl piece. So yeah, I don't know. So the inside here is another issue area where it's not exactly right. It's close. These should be flush, and as you can see, we've got about ½ inch that this is too far towards the front of the car, because there is a bracket that goes on here, and this bracket kind of goes here, and it's supposed to tie the two together. So that's got to be even where that welds in at. So these are just some of the problems that you run into trying to rebuild these old cars with new sheet metal, and people wonder why it takes so long to fix these cars and why it costs so much money, because we have to figure out how to manipulate these new panels to make them work on the old car. Alright, so I've gone ahead and welded most of this firewall in. I've got a couple of areas that I want to work on getting the fit better. Now I did lay the upper cowl piece on before I did any welding, just to see how it fit, and where the windshield bed is in that piece lines up perfectly with the corner sections, and it also fits very nicely over the rest of this. So the issue is in this main firewall piece. So we'll go ahead and modify this to get this to sit kind of closer, better where it is, and then go ahead and put the cowl piece on, and that'll leave that so we can get the windshield in it properly. So over here is probably the worst side. As you can see here, this is just so far out from where it needs to be that I'm going to have to slice this, I think, and move this back to get it back where it's supposed to be. I'm probably going to end up taking this bracket here off completely, unspot weld it, take it off, get this back, put this piece back on, and then that'll fit better. The other side is closer. This up and through here isn't as bad on that side. The other area that I've got concern with is down here, this bottom part here, and I'll show you on the inside where you can see it more. Well, you can see how it sticks up here. It sits proud of this tunnel. I mean, I don't know that it's not really going to cause an issue with anything, because it's just carpeting that lays in here, but I don't like it. I don't like the way it sits. It doesn't look right. If somebody sees that, they're going to think that the pan or the firewall is not in properly, and I can tell you everything's in where it's supposed to be. It can only fit so well. They're just, the stampings just are getting wore out. So I think what I'm going to have to do is slice this here, and then up around here, probably to about here, and that'll allow me to push this section down to where it's even with the tunnel, and then I'll just have to fill in here in this area here. Again, this won't be seen on the inside, and on the outside you're not going to see it either, because you know, you got your engine and transmission sitting right there. So this is a good place to go ahead and cut this so that I can modify this, get this down so that it looks better here, and then just fill that little section in there. This side here sat a little proud, but I wasn't as concerned with it because every other area lines up pretty well except that right there over where your left foot sits. Again, I don't know. I guess the dies are just getting wore out, but we'll get it fit right, and we'll get everything put together. Alright, so I wanted to bring you back while I'm making these modifications to the upper part of the firewall here, and I've already completed the other side, so I know this will work. I've done my tunnel. As you can see, that tunnel conforms nicely to the floor pan now. And I was able to just butt weld most of that back together. I had to put a very small piece in about 1.5 inches long down where it meets the floor pan at, just to fill in the gap. It was a little large there, but that fits perfect now. So let's walk around to the other side. I'll show you the finished product of what I'm doing, and then I'll explain what I did it. So we've got this side here done, and this lays back nice, sits right in where it's supposed to. Our piece here is right even where it's supposed to be at to make a good transition here for this tab to weld onto here. But this was a pretty easy fix. Take you back over here and I'll show you what I'm doing. So what I've done is I've undone the spot welds for the inner brace back here, and then I took and I sliced this along here, and as soon as I slice it and push, it pushes right back where it needs to sit. So I've got a screw holding this in, and as you can see, this now sits down here right where it's supposed to be. This piece here will come down, and it sits right on top, right there where it's supposed to be. So I don't know what the problem is with the die when they're stamping these out, but this needs to be back that much further. So what I did on the other side as I went along, I welded this here and here and here, and then I welded this down here and got this set in where it's supposed to be. And then as I started to butt weld on this end, and as I came along, I was able to knock this section back until I got to about here, and I may be a little further away on this side. This gap's a little bit larger than it was on the other side, but I got to about right here, and it was getting harder to bridge that gap, so I made a piece of metal up to fit in from here to here, filled that back in, and as you saw over there, you'd never know that I had sliced it. Now, one good thing about doing this repair here is once this upper cowl is on that sits here, you'll never see any of this. And you won't see the majority of this on the inside because all the way up to here sits behind this brace that's on the inside. And this section over here is up underneath the dash where you're just not going to see it unless you've got your head poked up under there. So I got that all. I'll get that. I'll start welding this up and get everything sealed back up on this side, and then we'll reprime these areas so that it's got coverage on it, it's got paint on it, and that'll leave the firewall pretty much where it's supposed to be. Okay, so I've got my area here all welded in, and as you can see, it looks like it should. Got this pushed back together. I was able to butt weld this up to about here, and then I put a filler piece in here like I did on the other side. Ground all these welds down nice just so it's easier to get the primer on there. This is ready for the upper cowl piece to go on, so I need to fit that on next. And before I weld that upper cowl in, I need to go around both of these openings with some seam sealer. I can see light underneath here. So if I don't seam seal this, when the water comes in, it's going to go underneath of this here and drip down inside the car, and we don't want that. Even if these aren't used later, somebody may choose to put vintage air in this car. I did put a non-AC firewall in it. This was an original AC car, but I figured if somebody's going to put air conditioning in it now, they're going to do an aftermarket system, and these will no longer be used, so they'll be closed off anyhow. But we want to make sure they're sealed now so that no water gets in at a later date. Next thing I got to do is get that cowl piece put on and get it fit, make sure it fits well, get all my holes punched in it, and set that on. These pieces here that connect the inner fender wells to the firewall, I need to take these off. At least this one's got to come off on the bottom. The other side is almost all the way off anyhow. I needed to move that to get the firewall out, but that one needs to come off completely. As you can see how far out it sits from the firewall. Again, I mean, these panels fit pretty good, but they're just not exactly right. So I'm going to take and undo that piece from the frame rail, and there's one final weld on the bottom part of that fender apron, and just move that back enough so it makes good contact with that firewall, and then I'll weld everything back up good and solid, and that'll strengthen up the front end as far as where that goes. Okay, a few days later, I've got my cowl piece on. Everything here lined up okay. Was a little bit off in a couple areas, but for the most part it fits really well. And so this is all welded in. I've also gone ahead and I've repaired my sections here at the lower A-pillars. I fabricated pieces to put in here, so these are fixed on both sides. And I'm going to go ahead and repair these corners. Somebody just kind of lapped a piece in over top of these corners. I'll take you around to the other side and show you what is underneath. As you can see, missing some metal. So we're going to go ahead and cut this out, and I'll make a piece that goes in here to make the corner piece nice and solid again. That'll leave this side, that side finished up. That'll pretty much finish all the repairs on the main body structure. Last thing that has to be put on now for the body are the quarter panels, and we'll be getting to those shortly.